Now, Jolynn, I want to talk to you as a journalist. Of course, as a South African journalist, we understand the absolute importance of free information for the country, and especially with the looming Protection of Information Bill, we understand that if documentaries like yours are squashed, we could potentially be without this type of information going forward. So why don't you speak to us about how important it is for you to be able to create information that's then made free to your countrymen?
Access to open and accurate information is critical in any democracy. And I think the media obviously has, as the fourth estate really in terms of the responsibility of curating and protecting that kind of information in an independent manner. The interesting thing about the fracking debate is that it's really, it's a huge issue that it's also unpacked, that Unearthed also points to, is the lack of investment in independent journalism, particularly in the United States. I mean, the fact that Unearthed is really the go-to film on fracking, and it's a South African film, is quite interesting. And that really points to the influence of the corporate media in the United States. And, newspapers not necessarily sending out journalists to cover the story for 5 months because it's not cost effective. But in South Africa, I think, we're still a young democracy. We still have a lot of conversations that need to be had between different parts of our population. There's still a lot of understanding that's necessary. And in order for us to achieve that, we need an open, in order for us to achieve that, we need an open press. It's hugely concerning, I think, for anyone working in this industry to know that that might be compromised in the future. As a filmmaker, I think we're also quite concerned sometimes about restrictions potentially coming in from the national broadcaster. Minor Shut Down was also made by it was also a huge 2014 documentary, and there are many questions around why that film hasn't really been allowed to air on those channels. I think it's very important for the public to call for open, independent press around every corner. I don't think the press can do it on their own. We need the people to be watchdogs as well. We need to support independent media houses as well, ingest that kind of information as well and support that. Because if the public supports that kind of press, the government has to listen to them.
Now, you were awarded a very prestigious honor from Glamour magazine. Why don't you talk to us about that?
Yeah, very interesting. It was amazing. I was awarded the 2014 Woman of the Year Change Agent alongside incredible women like Thuli Madonsela. It was a huge honor. It was such an amazing evening. I think, completely surprised, complete surprise. But it was such a special day to spend that with so many women who're doing such amazing things in South Africa, and such a huge honor to be included in that list. I was also apparently, I'm also one of the, I'm also one of Cosmopolitan's Millennial Movers this year, and it's just amazing to be a part of these women that are really dynamic and are really take it upon themselves to trust their authenticity and and contribute to a better South Africa. I think that women storytellers, women creatives, women in South African society are really where the solutions lie for me. I think they have a unique way of viewing the world, viewing our communities, and we really need to support them. I really do have, most of my optimism in South Africa lies in the women of South Africa.
Now, for somebody watching this, how can they view this incredible documentary?
We have many independent screenings coming up for Unearthed. We're also busy working on getting it to television. We have DVD sales coming up as well. So in this period, we're working furiously to get the film available to the public. The website's also going to be relaunched soon with all of our information, data, and the extra footage from 3 years across 3 continents, all to be open source very soon. So we're spending the next few weeks sorting all of that out, and early in the new year, we'll be ready for the public.
Are you able to give us an indication of what your next project is going to be?
Well, there are many projects coming up. I have a huge dream of mine at the moment is to open some sort of visual arts training center. I really want to be able to help women in particular tell their stories, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with a camera, maybe with a notebook, maybe through music, rap or dance. I really want to try and pull that off in some way. I think that I'm so grateful that I had the skills that I had in the time in which I needed them. When Unearthed found me, the story found me, I was able to respond because I knew how to use a camera. And I think that's a huge blessing. And I often wonder what it's like for people who want to be able to express themselves but don't necessarily have the resources or the skills to do that. So that's a huge goal on the list. Next year, we're still doing a lot more work with Unearthed. We have the North American debut that's coming up, and Canada's coming up as well. But outside of that, a beautiful piece that I'm also working on with a look at South Africa 20 years later, a real piece of introspection, of questioning, of really getting our finger on the pulse as a country and asking ourselves if we're happy with where we are.
And before I let you go, last year, this time, Nelson Mandela passed away, and you were also deep in the throes of working on Unearthed. So would you share just what you were doing on that day when you heard the news?
It was such a moving day. I remember it very, very clearly. I woke up early and I saw the news, and we called off the day. We were in post-production and we were working furiously with such tight deadlines to get the film finished. And we just took the day off. It was very simple. There's no discussion. We all got together, the whole team got together, and we went down to the parade. And we spent the whole day there, and I think it was just so inspiring to have South Africans come together. You know, I think Madiba's passing was a beautiful moment of seeing a united South Africa again. You know, people put aside their differences and their backgrounds, and they all just came together to celebrate his life. And it was such a beautiful moment. I just remember dancing and singing with everyone, and it was such a special day. And I think Madiba would have been so happy to know that that's how we dealt with his passing. We celebrated his life and his legacy that has really touched every single South African.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.